Okay, so now we're actually going to plant our pots. The first thing we're going to do is echinacea seeds, and this is a cold stratification process. So, and what that means, some seeds need cold in order to germinate, and echinacea is one of those seeds. So its climate, it likes to have a winter before it grows. And so what I have here is some sand. You can get play sand or you can get tube sand. This is tube sand, and I just took out the larger rocks. And what I did is I moistened it. So I just took a little bit of water and pour a little water in there, and you don't want it too wet. So you basically want it to be kind of like a, where it sticks together, but it's not like sopping wet, okay? So that's a good amount now of water. And now we're gonna take, here's the echinacea seeds themselves, and we're gonna just put those right in this bag. And I would label it, especially if you're doing more than one cold stratification. So you can just put a label on that. But now all we need to do is we close this Ziploc bag up and we put it in the refrigerator. And that basically simulates a winter for this seed. And you want to have it in there anywhere from about 3 weeks to 2 months. And then you can put this out in the garden. And when you put it out, just put the sand out too. So you kind of throw the whole thing out, sprinkle it around, and there you have planted your echinacea seeds. Now, another way to do that is to actually just throw your echinacea seeds out either in the early spring, like while it's still freezing at night. So like now would be a good time. Or you can also throw them out in the fall, and they will self-seed. And so if you have echinacea already in your garden, those seeds can fall into the garden and create more echinacea plants as well. The second and the third things we're going to do, take pots. And so what I've done is I've just made some recycled pots here. I like the idea of recycling things so we don't need to buy more. You can also buy little seedling pots. I wouldn't buy the peat pots because we don't want to dig up peat. So I try not to use that for gardening. I prefer, like, you could use a coconut pot if you wanted to, but it's really easy to make your own, and everybody has toilet paper rolls. So these work really good. The other thing you can do is you can use fiber, like a natural cloth, like cotton or any natural cloth, and make a little bag out of it. Those are kind of hard to work with. You can also just use some recycled cardboard. So this is gonna have, it's a little tricky, it's gonna have some little holes at the bottom. I haven't figured this one out totally yet, so not a super big fan of this, but you can work with that. You could also use a tiny little cardboard box, but these toilet paper roll ones work really well. So what you wanna do is you wanna fill your roll up with soil, making a mess here. And you want to pack it down. You want to pack it down so there's not a lot of air in there, but you don't want to pack it down super tight because the seedlings have very fragile, small roots. And so we don't want them to have to try too hard to get through that soil. And this soil is kind of a little moist, but not super wet again. And then what we're going to do is the first seed that we're going to plant is calendula. And these are really cool seeds. These are some of my favorite seeds. The way they look is just amazing. And these are larger seeds, as you can see. And so we want to plant, and this is a general rule of thumb, is that larger seeds get planted deeper because they have more resources. They have more nutrients to grow to the surface of the soil. So these are going to get planted about between 1/4 and 1/2 inch. So that's about a 1/4 inch is a little more than my fingernail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to poke a little hole in here that's about the depth of my fingernail, plant one of these seeds in there. And then, because not all seeds are viable, so sometimes one won't grow, I'm going to plant 2 in here. Now, if they both grow, I can either just pull one out, or I can plant them both separately. And ultimately, you want to plant them about 1 foot apart when they're in your garden. So those are ready to go, the calendula seeds. And now we're going to do German chamomile. And this is from my garden. This is last year's German chamomile. You can see the ray flowers are the white petals, and the disc flowers are the seeds, and those are the yellow part. And there are a lot of seeds in this one little chamomile. So look at all those seeds, and we don't even have them all out. So the white petals won't grow plants, but these little tiny yellow seeds are totally viable. And I love to use locally grown seed because those tend to grow best in your garden, right? Because they're acclimated to your specific location. So these are super tiny, and the thing about really tiny seeds is they tend not to have a lot of resources. They don't have a lot of nutrients. A lot of them actually need light in order to germinate. So you can't plant them really deeply in the soil. So I'm just going to take these that I have on my finger, and I'm going to just tap them into the soil. And then what you can do if you'd like is just literally sprinkle a tiny bit of soil on top. You just kind of tap them down. And then to water this one, you really want to use a very light watering. If you water it too heavily, you're going to splash the seeds, right? So I like to use like a mister or a spray bottle for that. Okay, those are our 3 types of seeds that we are going to plant in this class.